Section 7.4, Applications of Averages. Now when we say averages, usually we end up talking about just the mean. In this case, it's not always going to be the mean. The average could mean the median, the mode, or the mean. There are all ways to measure the central tendency of a set of data. In other words, where the middle of the data is. But not all of them measure it in the same sort of a way. If you're trying to measure the data like clothing size, and you're trying to restock a shelf or something like that, and you need to restock the sizes that are sold the most, and you want to find out which ones are the most, you would use mode, because you'd have a lot of them that are needing to be replaced. If you're looking at measuring, say, a set of data that's not very different from each other, like maybe test scores, and most of them are like 55, 65, 75, 65, 75, you would use mean. Now if you're trying to measure things and you're trying to find the middle of the set of number, and they're quite different in their data, maybe one of them's 5, one of them's 50, one of them's 10, one of them's 100, one of them's 80, then you would use the median. So all three of them are used for different reasons. And ideally, they would all be pretty close to each other in order to make them all be similar and make them very valid. So we're going to look at a couple examples here now of these ones. So here we got a bunch of student game scores for a trivia contest. And you notice they're all in the 800s here. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the median, the mean, and the mode of that set of data. So when we go ahead and add all of these scores up, okay, so I can do that real quickly. So I'm going to add up all of these scores, and I think I'll use the standard calculator, a bit easier to use. So I'll do 860 plus 856 plus 876 plus 860 plus 838 plus 854 plus 872 plus 861 plus 874 plus 878 plus 864, and my total is 9,483. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 11 actual pieces of data. So I'm going to divide it by 11 to find my mean. And my mean in this case is 863. So 863. So simply by adding up all these and dividing it by the number that I had added, which is 11. If I look at the median, I got to put these in order from least to greatest or greatest to least, and then see which one is in the middle. And when it's all said and done, this one right here will be in the middle. So 861 will be in the middle. I could test this out by putting them in order and then crossing one off each side until I end up with a number in the middle. So that's the median. And finally, to calculate the mode, it's the one that appears the most. And out of all these that appear the most, 860 appears 2 times, so my mode is 860. Now, of the mean, median, and mode, which do you think best describes the data? And then we got to explain why. Well, if you look at all three of the data, they're all pretty close to each other, and they're all close in value. So the reason why either one of these would be good to explain the middle is because they're all so close in value that really neither one is any better than the other. In the C part, it says, what is the range of these data? Well, when you take the highest number, which appears to be 878, so we'll take 878 and subtract the lowest one, which is, I believe, 838. Subtract 838, and the answer is 40. So the range is 40 in this case. So either one of these are good examples of measuring the average or the best of describing the middle of the data. Okay, looking at another one. We've got a quality control inspector randomly selects boxes of pasta from the production line. So he takes a box just to check them out. One day, she measures the masses of 40 boxes. So we got 40 boxes and finds 11 of them have a mass of 498. 12 have a mass of 500. 1 has a mass of 502. 10 has a mass of 503. And 6 have a mass of 505. So what we need to do is first write an expression that can be used to calculate the mean mass. So remember what the mean actually means. It's basically taking up all of our data sets, adding them together, and then dividing them by how many data we have. So I've got 11 boxes that have a mass of 498. So I could do this. I could write 498 11 times, but that's going to be a little bit time consuming, right? I can write out every one of these data sets. Or I could write out 498, put it in brackets, and go 11 times. So I'll put 11 outside it. Then I'm going to add that to 12 boxes of 500 grams each. So 12 times 500. And then one box of 503 plus 10 boxes of, so that would be 10 times 503. Now I should change that to 502 about this one. There we go. And then 6 boxes of 505. So I'm going to take that, shift them over a little bit, give me a little bit more room. And the final thing is 6 boxes of 505. So basically I can work this out now using a calculator. So 11 times 8, 498. I'll put my answer here. Put my answer to 12 times that there, and then add them all up in the end. After I add them up, remember the mean is divided by the total number that you have. So once we add up all of the total weights, I'm going to add up my data sets here. And when I go 11 plus 12 plus 1 plus 10 plus 6, there will be a total of 40 actual boxes that he took. So the answer is, to this one, I'm going to have to write 11 times this plus 12 times that plus 502 plus 10 times this plus 6 times this, will divided by 40, and that will be my expression in order to calculate the mean mass. If I want to find the median or the middle number, I would have to write these all out, okay? And I'd have to put them all in order and then start canceling off the ones that are on each side, and I'd end up with one of them in the middle. And the actual answer for that one would be 500 grams. So the mean we calculate when we divide it is 501. The median when we calculate it is 500. And now if we look at the mode, the one that appears the most, that's pretty easy. We got 12 of these boxes. So the mode mass is 500. So the question is, okay, if we look at this one, it says for the shipment of pasta to be acceptable, the mean mass must be greater than 500 grams. So is this shipment acceptable? Well, the mean mass is 501 grams. So we know that it is acceptable for this shipment.